one of the things that we know Piers Morgan is very, very good at is lying through the skin of his teeth, especially those that he's afraid to actually interview. And one of the people that Piers Morgan is actually really afraid to interview because he was made to look like an absolute fool by this person a number of years ago when he was on Good Morning Britain is Tommy Robinson. Now, Piers Morgan loves to call Tommy Robinson, the likes of an Islamophobe and whatever the hell that means. And he'll lie about why he went to prison. He'll lie about certain other things regarding Tommy Robinson. So if Piers is actually afraid of you or doesn't want to debate you or doesn't want anything to do with you, number one, he'll block you, which is exactly what he did to Tommy Robinson for whatever reason. And then he'll choose not to debate Tommy and then act as if that Piers is actually the big shot and Piers is the one that is the strong one and not the one that's actually in the wrong. And Piers, while Tommy was in prison, I believe, for 7 months, which is a long time to be in solitary confinement, believe you me, Piers was going on an absolute roll, calling out Tommy Robinson for things that Tommy didn't even do, called him a football hooligan, a thug, and someone that isn't good for society. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Piers, but more people love Tommy Robinson and believe Tommy than they do you. You are one of the biggest grifters and charlatans that I've seen on the internet. Now, that doesn't mean that everything that you say is wrong. It just means that a vast majority of the things that you say is wrong, especially when it comes down to the likes of Tommy Robinson, who I believe is a very genuine, authentic kind of man. And he went to prison for 7 months to make a statement. What have you done, Piers? You have a show called Uncensored, which isn't really uncensored. You actually censor people all the time. And secondly, you have these people on to go at it all the time, which seems like, I know it's genius in some ways, but it gets very, very annoying. You used to be able to watch it. You used to be able to listen to what people were saying when they're not constantly bickering and going after each other. But then it just became this thing where you love to lie and distort the truth to suit your own means and your own benefits, which to me, that's not good. Like, we should be telling the truth, shouldn't we? We should always be focused on the truth. Now, Piers said this in a X post not that long ago. This is when Tommy Robinson is still in prison. He was asked, when are you going to interview Tommy Robinson? And he goes, whenever he has the balls to come and do it face to face in the Piers Morgan Uncensored studio. Well, to be honest, Tommy Robinson is now out of prison. And I think Tommy has got more stones than you, Piers. So yes, this is the beautiful thing about the internet. It is forever. And Tommy has now already gone on Ezra Levant's podcast, and he said this about Piers Morgan. Have a watch.
Journalist, a British journalist. Why have none of you spoke about the content of the film? Okay, so none of you. So it's the most watched documentary in history.
I think Piers Morgan mentioned it. I think he said he watched it.
Did he? Well, he should do, because he was one of the liars and frauds that started it, wasn't he? He destroyed a young child's life based on wanting to jump on the bandwagon of being woke and jump on the bandwagon of racist English boy, which wasn't the story. I think Piers, I heard from someone, had accepted that Bailey was innocent in the film. Piers obviously has his issue with me. I'd respect anyone who accepts they were wrong. Yeah? When you watch that film, Piers was wrong. Piers' reporting was wrong. It destroyed a young child's life, and he should hold his hands up. That's what I think he should do. Not to do with me. He can hate me if he wants to hate me. But we're talking about a 15-year-old child, Bailey was. Do you know about Bailey come visit me last week? Got an email. I'd love to read it. I got an email from the girl. There was one of the children witnesses. She got 11 A stars. She was a grade A student. She was studying law when she come and testified at court. Obviously, the judge found that everyone lied, including her. I don't know why a grade A student studying law would make something up before my involvement, but that's what the judge found. She sent me an email saying how, because she'd watched a podcast from me where I said, I probably shouldn't have allowed them to give evidence because I know what the system's like. I don't believe there's any justice in there, and when you're before a judge, not a jury. So I know what it's like, and I knew they were going to rule against me, and I believe that girl dropped out of her law course. But she sent me a lovely email saying, Stephen, she's feeling guilty. Because when I first knocked on her door, and she told me the truth, that I said I wasn't going to back down and I was going to fight it, and now she felt guilty that I'm sat in prison. But she said, she listened to a podcast where I said, I shouldn't have let her testify. And she said, I'm proud that I've testified. And if I could go back again, I'd do exactly the same again, Stephen.
Well, I hope that you have an opportunity to have a good argument with Piers Morgan, because I know that he has said some things about you that I would call untrue and unfair.
But they are untrue, isn't it?
But I think of all the British journalists in mainstream, I think he does abide a rollicking debate. And it's my hope that you appear on his show and just have at it.
Might have to tell him to unblock me first.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's just my
Shit
own. I think that would be an amazing debate. And I think you would more than hold your own. I think you have a command of the facts.
Yeah, Ezra, I have truth on my side, so I'm not sitting there debating anything other than the truth.
Yeah.
So
well, I've seen you debate. I've seen you. I remember when you were on Good Morning Britain. Let me ask you: are there any people in mainstream media who are fair? I'm not even going to say sympathetic, but they're fair. And are they allowed to write about you? Because sometimes it's not just the reporter; it's their editor or publisher who says, "We're not siding with the far right, alt right Tommy Robinson."
Yeah, I don't think that those mainstream reporters matter anymore. I think they don't realise that. It's like the main.
Tommy's not lying. Tommy is debating the truth. He's very, very good at debating the truth. Something that Piers Morgan isn't actually good at himself. Instead, Piers loves to lie. And it's through the lying that he doesn't actually care what it does to people. He only cares about himself. That is, without a doubt, what I've been seeing for quite some time, especially when it comes down to the likes of Tommy Robinson, and yet he chooses to have on all these other people that are just as bad as Piers, if not worse, and will constantly, he'll constantly change his opinion on things, or not his opinion, but his viewpoint on so many things. And he's blocked a number of people. You got Red Van. He blocked me and then called me a jerk because I called him out on refusing to talk to you, and then hosting literal neo-Nazis like Myron Gaines and even Andrew Tate, who, by the way, has been charged, I think, in the UK for human trafficking and abusing women. So there is that side of things, which we'll get to in probably another video later on the down track. We'll see how that unfolds. But Grifty goes, can we please make sure that nobody retweets this image of Piers Morgan being absolutely terrified to debate Tommy Robinson, as it will upset Piers as he constantly avoids Tommy. And I believe it's Avi Yemeni says, Tommy Robinson will dismantle this flip-flopping clown with ease again. See, the thing is, one thing I like about Tommy, he doesn't flip from one side to another. He doesn't change his mind on things. He holds true to the truth. He stands by the truth, and he always debates the truth. Unlike Piers, who's always flip-flopping. He goes from one side of the aisle to the next. And it's like he did the same thing recently with Israel. Can only imagine what he's going to do with South Africa very, very soon. But he's been doing it. So initially he was going, all right, we're going to condemn October 7th, which you damn well should condemn October 7th. But now he's had on so many people from the pro-Palestine side, you name it, and even the Israel side, but his line of questioning seems to be completely against Israel. But not just that, his whole information has been screwed up. In fact, now he's reverted back to his ways of lying, and people are starting to notice. They're starting to take notice of all of Piers Morgan's lies. Harvey also goes, Piers has built a career on changing his views to fit the audience. Obviously, the audience now for Piers Morgan is pro-Palestinian. It's clear. Have you even seen any of the comments on his videos? It's crazy. Tommy has remained consistent, principled, and unafraid to stand alone, even when it meant solitary confinement. One bends, the other stands. And the thing is, I mentioned in the video that I made yesterday about Piers Morgan lying about Israel, is that he's going, why won't you let in Western journalists into Gaza at the moment? And I posed a question to him. Why don't you have the stones, if you want the truth to be shown uncensored, let's say, on your very own show, why don't you pack up your things and go over into Gaza and see for yourself. See how the Palestinian people treat you. See how the terrorist organization treats you, Piers. But I don't think you will go because you are actually scared. In fact, you seem to think that it's good to sit behind a desk and criticize people, but you claim to be a journalist, but yet you're not principled at all. Your only principle is to yourself and to what Piers Morgan wants. Not what the truth is, not what other people think or want or actually need. It's what Piers wants. And look, I've said a number of times, there are a couple of things that Piers says that I agree with, and so be it. But when it comes to these things with Tommy Robinson, with Israel, and you just watch him always changing his viewpoints on things to suit a particular audience. He'll never stand true, never stand firm on one issue. And that's a problem. Find out what you believe in, why you believe it, and stick to it. Find the truth of things and uphold the truth. And you know where the truth comes from? The Word of God. I think he's missing that entirely. But then that's what we get for following someone like Piers Morgan. And the other thing is he's got a huge audience. He's got millions of people because he's captured that for people. The drama, the lying gets people and draws them in. Same thing with Candace Owens. All these people that are bad faith individuals, I call them, they get massive audiences. And then the moment they get a massive audience and a massive paycheck, they change their viewpoints quite considerably to what it suits the other side usually. And they'll go, I was wrong before. Right. No, you're only siding with the other side now because it suits you. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.